Okay, so it's 10:20. Notice hereby given, Willacy County Commissioners Court will hold a regular meeting at the County Judge's Office Commissioners Courtroom at 576 West Main in Renville, Texas, 78580 on Thursday, June 26th of 2025 at 10 a.m. at 10:20 a.m. for the purpose of discussing the following items. Excuse me. If during the course of the meeting any discussion of any item on the agenda to be held in executive or closed session, Willacy County Commissioners Court will convene such executive or closed session according with section 551.001 of the Texas Government Code. Should any final action, final decision, final vote be required in the opinion of Willacy County Commissioners Court with regards to any matter considering such closed or executive meeting or session, then the final decision and final vote should be either in the open meeting covered under the notice of the reconvening of the public meeting or at a subsequent meeting of the Willacy County Commissioners Court upon notice thereof as the county shall determine. So with that, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Madam Chief Deputy Clerk, could you establish a quorum, please?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Commissioner Precinct 2.
Present.
Commissioner Precinct 3.
Present.
Commissioner Precinct 4.
Present.
I'm the county judge.
Present.
We do have one.
Okay, so we go to, thank you. We go to line item 3, please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. Heavenly Father, we come before you with humble hearts, seeking your guidance and grace. We pray for unity among all people, that divisions and misunderstandings may be replaced with compassion and harmony. Help us to see each other through your eyes, recognizing the dignity and worth of every individual. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you. We go to number 4, public comments. If there's not any, then we go to line item number 5, approval of claims.
Good. Been reviewing prior to here this morning. I move to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Garcia to approve claims. Can I entertain a second?
Okay.
Second by Commissioner Alonisa Morano. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Line item number 6, discussion action to approve memorandum of understanding between the Lyford CISD Police Department and the Willacy County Sheriff's Department. Action required, and commissioners, I think this is a yearly thing, right?
Yes.
It is a yearly thing. Okay, and as you know, we do have memorandum of understanding with both Lyford CISD Police Department and also the city of Lyford PD. Can I entertain a motion to approve?
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Garcia and a second by Commissioner Tijerina. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Line item number 7, authorization to modify the purchase of the Eventide DX recorder approved by Commissioners Court on February the 13th of 2025 to reflect the deletion of 8 IP license at the cost of $1,608 and adding Nextcloud 740DX channel activation bundle and 8 analog channel license at the cost of $3,200 and professional service installed at a price of $1,121 for a total increase of $2,713. Action required. And we have Mr. Oscar
So
Rivera.
just, I guess during the kickoff call, when we collaborate with all the parties that are going to be working with the project, so that's what's going to be with Motorola, BTX or BTCI, ourselves, the IT department. We learned at that point that the item that we had purchased, there was a component missing. I didn't anticipate an analog component. to the digital radio system. But according to Motorola, that the recording would not work unless we had that component. So this is just, I'm amending the original purchase. We're deleting 8 channels of digital. We're adding an interface for analog and 8 channels of analog so that the system can work the way we intend it to work.
Okay.
And be able to record all the calls, radio traffic, and that nature. So I didn't anticipate again the analog component of the digital radio system, but there is going to be an analog component, and that's what this is for.
Is the analog like a redundancy or something?
No, it's something, and I don't know the technical specifics, but that's we learned from the Motorola regional radio system folks that the system would not be able to, we wouldn't be able to record unless we had that component. Again, I didn't know until we got on that phone call and collaborated with all the interested parties, and that's when we learned of the missing components. So.
And it had nothing to do with interoperability with the other agencies, I guess?
No, it doesn't have anything to do with the radio system. It's just our ability to record
That's it.
the radio traffic and our phone lines. Yeah.
Which we don't do now.
Right, correct. And we would ask that to be purchased.
Well, one of the things that we had initially wanted to make sure that we did do was to have recordings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that becomes essential when, unfortunately, there's events that happen that places an ease with the public when they hear, right? And we hear this at the national level and so forth. So not to have it, I think, would be a mistake if we're able to afford it.
Where would this
Number
come from?
7.
Where would it come from?
This would have to come from the capital fund, because I'm assuming the reason you're here because you can't afford it.
Well, the thing is the original purchase through Vistacom was made through the capital fund,
Right.
and we're asking the purchase or through the capital fund.
Yeah.
And to be clear, this is not a recurring expense. This is a
No.
one-time.
That's correct. Yes.
Make a motion to approve, Judge, pulling it from the capital fund.
I have a motion by Commissioner Delafaz, second by Commissioner Tijerina, which is described as Fund 2.
Which is described as Fund 2.
I made my motion.
So you got that, Lizzie?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second, an amended motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign, motion carries. Let's see, line item number 8, discussion approval of ratification for county judges, action to approve unforeseen travel for inmate transport for hotel and meal for inmates and 2 deputies to be paid out of the jail administration inmate transport account line item 064611135. And commissioners, as you know, this was something that our county auditor had brought up. This is coming out of their own budget, the sheriff's budget. However, it needed to be approved to Commissioners Court in each and every travel that they have to do. Without alluding to the dates, because that would jeopardize the safety of the deputies.
Move to approve it.
I have a
Second.
motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Tijerina. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Line item number 9, discussion and action to approve interlocal agreement between Willacy County and Rio Grande Valley Emergency Communication District, RGB 911, action required. Commissioner, what this is about, this is having to do with actual physical addresses where more than anything, first responders can identify a particular address and location. And so what we have in some areas is that we have properties that have been either family partitioning or some other kind of means that they have divided property. And so what 911 district is recommending that we approve through this interlocal agreement, them being able to name a particular road within those properties by naming it. But in order for them to do that, they need approval of the Commissioner's Court. Now, having said that, my only feedback to that, and I think they agree, is that they include the property owners, because typically they're families, to be involved in naming it, in naming that particular road or easement, whatever is referred to as. And Robert, do you have other input that you want to?
Yes, sir. It was just it's a private drive because some of these family partitions, some of the acreage is behind them, and they don't have no frontage to the main roads, so it's just going to be giving them authority to name the private drive. But they do have a form that the owners will fill in with LRTDV 911 to have a name, a particular name that they want to name it. If it will be a private drive, and the county is not going to be responsible for maintenance or anything. And it was reviewed by Ms. Hinojosa, and she said it's okay with it.
It's kind of performance.
It's just for 911 purposes.
Then, if there's not any comments or questions, can I entertain a motion to approve?
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Zamorano to approve, second by Commissioner Trujillo. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 10, discussion and action to accept the Texas Veterans Commission 2025, 2026 VCSO General Assistance Grant Award in the amount of $150,000, which was recently renewed. Action required. Is that a typo or is that the way it's referred to? Okay, 2025, 2026.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Honorable Judge and Commissioners. I'm gonna read it off of this deal because if anybody knows Henry knows that I'm real shy, right, Henry? We are happy to announce that for the 5th consecutive year, we have been awarded / renewed the grant for the grant cycle 2025-2026 in the amount of $150,000 for general assistance funding, which we will assist with utility bills, rent and mortgage payments, and funeral expenses. We thank the Texas Veterans Commission, county officials, and community leaders for their collaboration and support. So, I guess.
So we are receiving a grant for $150,000, and that's to be utilized for veterans across the county.
And surviving spouses for Willacy County.
Yes.
So we're asking the Commissioner's Court to accept the award.
Okay, because we've already we applied, we were in the stage of accepting.
Well, we got renewed. So what happens is, like every other year, we apply, and then the second year, then we get renewed. And so the next grant year, then we're gonna have to apply again.
What some of the I know it says for help for veterans and surviving spouses, but what's the type of help, like for like homes, utilities?
Yeah, water, light, most of the majority are electric bills, and of course water, gas, rent, mortgage.
And unfortunately, funerals. That, at least, peace of mind for the surviving spouse and stuff, that they don't have to pay for all of that, that we can help with some of that. So,
Up to $6,000 for funerals.
So move to accept it.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner LaPaz, second by Commissioner Zamorano. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. And
Thank you
Thank you so
guys.
much.
thank you for all the work.
Thank you so much.
Line item number 11, consideration and possible action to accept Willacy County Insurance Committee recommendation to award third party administration CPA to Yuzu to be effective October 1 of 2025. And you do have Mr. Rustenberg here, commissioners. I know that this seems a little bit intimidating to have, 5 line items pertaining to this. But what I can assure you is that the committee has had several meetings pertaining to this, and as you break it down, I guess it simplifies. But I think, Mr. Rustenberg, what we can maybe start with, and I don't know if we can discuss it in this particular item, is that we did go out for RFQs. RFP. So I think we can start with that as far as, the number of, you want to talk to who?
Good morning. My name is Bill Rusterberg, and I'm a fee-based insurance consultant. I work with the county. I've been working with the county for a number of years now. I think it would be very helpful, and I haven't met you, ma'am, so I'll kind of give you a little background of what we're doing here. I'll give you a better idea of why we're here today. You are the insurance company. You're self-funded, and you build your own plan. A self-funded plan is much like, let me compare it to your automobile. When they're building your automobile, they put a water pump in, a radiator, air conditioning, tires, brakes, and they put these different parts together to make it whole so that you have a nice vehicle to drive. Your plan is much the same way. You have a lot of different moving parts, and over the years we have tinkered with it to try to improve it. And I will say that your plan, as structured today, is probably one of the very best plans here in the Rio Grande Valley, in fact, in the state of Texas, because you're incorporating a lot of very good risk management techniques that has saved the county a lot of money, and it's improved the benefits. Under the current program, if the employees follow the rules, and the rules are very simple, they basically have 100% coverage with no deductible, no copays, including prescription drugs, if they follow the rules. If they don't follow the rules, and very few don't, then there is your typical deductible and your copays and what have you. So what we're suggesting on this renewal, and by the way, we, as a committee, I want to applaud the committee. They're super intelligent, one of the better committees I've been able to work with over the years. They're very educated. We have the appraisal district on it. We have the housing, I think the housing authority. We have Marty with the hospital district. So we've got some really talented people on the committee. The judge, of course, has attended. And Henry, you've come to a couple of meetings. So, and everybody in this room is welcome to come to these committees as we have these committee meetings. But as a committee, we have met, how many times have we met on this?
Quite a bit, about 5 or 6.
5 or 6 meetings. I mean, we spent many hours on this. And we have vetted the vendors, we've interviewed the vendors, and today we're here to make a recommendation for your consideration. There's a lot of resolutions here. We could probably condense it down to 1 or 2 or 3, but I wanted to make sure that we all understood what we're doing here. And the first resolution that you're considering today is the third-party administrator. Yuzu is a third-party administrator, and the reason we selected them is because when you put these moving parts together, they have to be able to sync together, right? So if you put a 6-volt battery where a 12-volt battery is needed, it's not going to work. So you have to get the different components to sync together. The package that we're recommending is Yuzu as the third-party administrator, maintain Acerta as your care navigator. You've had Acerta now for a number of years. The hospitals in the valley and the physician community are very familiar with Acerta and how it works. They facilitate and navigate and walk the patient through this complex world of American healthcare. They actually set the appointments, they negotiate a cash pay payment to the doctor or the hospital is paid at the point of service or shortly thereafter. It's cash is king, and we get really good prices that way. To give you an example, And we have some direct agreements too. We have a direct agreement with, for example, Doctors Hospital at Renaissance. These agreements are very competitive when you compare to the network agreements that you'll never see, although I have seen them because that's my business. Blue Cross contract, Humana contract, United Healthcare, and the rest. If you knew what was in those agreements, you would probably never agree to be part of a network because they're so egregious, they're one-sided. So we're paying 100% of Medicare on inpatient coverage at one hospital. If you were with a managed care program, you'd be paying 250 or more percent of Medicare. So you're getting good savings. Yuzu packaged with Acerta makes total sense because they can mesh together. They have experience to do it. The children's home here in Raymondville, for example, has Yuzu, and they have Acerta, and it's worked very well. We would propose to do the same thing. Acerta, when we first started doing business with them, a decade ago, I guess, they've since been purchased or merged with Frontier. Frontier is a direct primary care organization that's done very well here in the Valley. That would be part of the package, and it would be simply an addition of another provider. So you have Yuzu, Acerta, and you have the direct primary care as an additional provider. Employees and members can go to any provider they want to. They're not forced to use a Frontier provider. It's just an option. One of the things that we've noticed in looking at your claims experience in the last 12 months, you had 98 ER admissions, emergency room admissions. And when you try to find out why you have so many admissions when they have their family doctors they could go to, well, sometimes there's a wait. When you want to go see your primary care physician, sometimes it may be next week. It's certainly not the same day in most cases. And people feel like they have an emergency, whether it's a little Johnny is sick with a fever at 2 a.m. Parents are naturally worried. They want to make sure he's okay, so they take him to the emergency room. Emergency room visits are very expensive. And with the No Surprises Act that was passed by Congress, it's even more expensive because it's now the responsibility for balanced billing to go back to the county. It's not the member's responsibility. So we're seeing emergency room visits as much as $35,000 for a visit, believe it or not. We had, this is not on your group, we had another group here in the Valley where a lady had severe abdominal pains and went to the emergency room when she should have. She should have gone to the emergency room. And they treated her, sent her home, said, if you feel worse tonight, come back. When she felt worse, came back, they admitted her in. Next day they removed the kidney stone. Emergency room bill was $35,000. That one day stay in a hospital, one overnight stay in a hospital was $150,000. So $185,000. Under your plan would pay a lot less than that. So that's in a nutshell. I'll stop right there if you have any questions on what I've said so far.
Commissioners, being part of some of the meetings, I think the judges has also been part of the meeting. What you said is true. You have a array of individuals from different backgrounds, from the juvenile probation office through the housing authority to the myself and countless leaders that have been there. The county auditor. So you have a lot of different mentalities that are sitting there and analyzing numbers and crunching numbers and overseeing what we were doing compared to what we're doing now, what potentially be doing. Right now, things kind of don't change, right? But we're just adding additional services. Frontier has a long list of different pharmacies compared to what they were before. So, where the hopes are that even when we get to that level, the drug costs will be down, additional services will be able to be provided, and so on. So that's what I saw from our group and meeting. And Ruben, I forgot, Ruben, our county treasurer, has also been in these meetings.
Is there anybody with a medical background that sits on the committee?
medical background mean a provider? No, I don't think there was any nurses or doctors or nurse practitioners or hospital administrators. So the answer to that is no. I will say that if anyone, I could point to anyone on the committee with more expertise in that area, would be Marty from the hospital district, and she's been an invaluable part of the committee. And by the way, you mentioned Linda's name. She has been fantastic. I've got to put a plug in for her. You've done a lot of work, and so. Any other questions?
No, Marty. What's her background? What's her title?
I don't know her background. I just know that she's the executive director of the Willacy County Hospital District here in town.
So she's not a nurse or a doctor or
Big pardon?
practitioner. She's not a medical professional. She
Not
just
that
has
not that I know.
medical knowledge, perhaps maybe, but not a medical professional.
You'd have to ask her what her qualifications are. And by the way, you're certainly welcome to join the committee too. We wish you would.
I was going to ask as far as so with the plan that we have now, we're limited as far as the providers, the PCPs that we're able to see.
No, ma'am. You're not limited. You could go to any primary care physician you'd like to. Period.
What will Frontier add? Because I know they have various locations here in the Rio Grande Valley, and each location has their own doctor. But here in Raymondville, they have a nurse practitioner, and I know there's a doctor that oversees because she doesn't have that prescriptive authority. But with Frontier, would our employees be limited to having to just visit the Raymondville clinic, or will they be able to visit?
They could visit any Frontier clinic or any clinic. They can go to Dr. Smith. They can go to any doctor they want to. That's certainly up to them. Frontier, to my knowledge, has 12 clinics at Brownsville, Harlingen, Weslaco, here, Edinburgh, McAllen, I think. So they have numerous clinics, and I think you have some employees that don't live here that maybe go to Harlingen, so they have that, but they're not required to. They can still, no one needs to change their doctor if they don't want to. And I know there's several on the committee that made it very clear, and I'm looking at one right now that doesn't want to change doctors, right? So that's understood. This is simply a way to add an additional benefit as simply another provider. Frontier and these other vendors want multiple year contracts, and my philosophy is we're going to try you for a year. So any of these contracts that you approve today are for 1 year. We've tried things in the past, Judge, and some things have worked and some things have not worked as good as we thought would work. And that's the beauty of what you're doing here, because you're the insurance company. You decide what's best for the county, the taxpayers, and the employees. So this is worth a try. I think Frontier has been successful, and I'm not trying to sell you on them at all. But I think the reason they've grown so quick, so fast, is they've solved the accessibility problem. I'm from Brownsville originally, and I'll tell you a little quick story. You might appreciate this. I went to I had some plumbing problems, right? I didn't have a primary care physician. And he took care of me in Harlingen. He said, by the way, do you have a primary care physician? And I said, well, no, I don't. He said, well, you need one. And I recommend my wife in Brownsville. I said, yeah, what's your number? I called the office after I left. Said, are you taking new patients? Yes, we are. Well, I'd like to be a new patient. When can I come in and see you? Well, give your name, your birth date, and all that. And then she said, we can see you in 6 weeks. I said, 6 weeks? So I think that's an issue all over the country, is accessibility. They've solved that. They've got the city of McAllen as a client. They say they've saved the city $8 million last year. I don't know if I believe it. That's what they say. But I asked one of the people at Frontier a week ago, I think it was at the meeting, it was at the last insurance meeting. Tell me how you saved $8 million for the city of McAllen. He said, we cut ER visits by 78% because people were needing care right away. They could get it at the ER. They couldn't get it on a local basis with their primary care physician because of the wait times. So that's the problem. That's what they have solved, and that would be part of your plan, but it would be voluntary.
So I just wanted to add, like currently we do have a virtual provider. It's just not being used as often. But that would be one of the benefits of having Frontier is that you have that availability 24/7. It's the weekend, I have a fever, I don't feel good, and hey, let's set up an appointment with Frontier. They do guarantee services within
One day.
within the day. So it'll get.
Okay, I think what we have to take one line item at a time, right? Let's see, where are we at? Considering
It's because it's all a package deal.
It is,
Yeah.
but the way the line item is,
Right. So I think if we stick on the first one, and it all comes together. You're absolutely right. I was about to say further down the agenda, there's going to be something that you mentioned, things that we tried and don't work. That's one of them.
Yes, sir.
That's going to be further down that we're going to recommend that we do away with. And just to elaborate a little bit more, is we tried also to get these particular medications or drugs out of Mexico. Remember that? We found another way, right? So things like that we try don't work, we change it, right? And that's the beauty or the flexibility that we have available as to being self-insured, right? But and overall, and I think I can discuss this in this particular line item, is that we try to give the best benefits to the employees within the means of the financial means of the county. Those two components, I can assure you as a county judge, right, sitting in that committee, I look at very carefully, right? But if it is within our means, right, which financially it appears that we're within the means, is that then you want to try different things to give better benefits to the employees, which we'll discuss in some of the other line items briefly as we go down. But needless to say, on the first one is that based on the type of services that this particular company provides, based on the numbers, based on cost, the committee is recommending that we do consider, and I want to make sure I pronounce it right. Where is it? Yuzu as the administrator, party administrator for that.
Yeah, currently we have Boone Chapman, so we would have to also terminate that effective time.
So the cost is?
Well, the cost is, and we don't have the breakdown, right? But that's just one of the components of other costs as well.
It's not free. Doggone it.
That kind of gets in line with some of the questions while we're looking that I wanted to ask was, well, one thing was you mentioned, and I know we may have got off in the weeds, but these were already mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And number one is that Acerta no longer exists. It's now Frontier.
Acerta exists. They've simply merged with a Frontier.
So Acerta is Frontier.
Correct. And Frontier is Acerta.
and we've had.
And they offer two different benefits. They offer direct primary care, which could be purchased without the Acerta part. And they got the Acerta part, the care navigation, cash pay transaction, that can be purchased separately too, or you can put them together.
You mentioned earlier in your introduction that you work for the county. In what capacity do you work for the county?
I didn't work for the county, I worked with the county, I guess is
You
what.
said for, so I was just wondering. So you don't actually work for us, you're a vendor, correct?
I'm a fee-based consultant. I don't earn commissions, so I'm completely unbiased. Whatever you do here, whether you take my recommendations or not, does not affect my income because I'm on contract with you as a county.
What's your business name or what are you?
Well, I'm William Rustenberg, doing business as risk managers.
So you don't represent Acerta or Frontier or anything
No,
like
sir.
that? And do we go out for bids for his service?
On his service, I don't think we've gone on for.
We've had this contract for a few years now. That since I've been here, it's been here before.
And that leads up to my fourth question, which is going to be, I feel like I just saw these when I was reading the agenda. I would like some kind of an update, we keep talking about the committee, so we see who the committee members are. And an update like a workshop to come and talk to us, the decision makers first, because I don't really have that well of an informed decision. I sat in on one meeting, but that's even iffy for us to sit in on the meetings because then we're going to violate, we're going to have a quorum. And we can't have that. So we'd have to have a workshop. So I want to see who all the committee members are that are making all the recommendations. So that's a simple deal. And now we're going to spend all morning here just talking about it. And I think Mr. Commissioner Tehidi asked for the cost, and we haven't even gotten to that yet.
Yeah.
So anyway, those are my questions. And I think y'all have answered.
Yeah. So during the meetings, we do discuss numbers and we go over, how much it's going to cost. So I believe this one increased a bit, but we are reducing other costs in regards to dental, vision. We're getting rid of another agreement that we're currently paying on that doesn't seem to be working out for the county anymore. So
You're actually recommending.
Huh?
You're recommending.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to make a comment on that. Nothing wrong with a workshop. We put a lot of time and effort on this. And the question then comes, why do we have an insurance committee when we now have to come back to a workshop and go through the whole process again? That's a concern I have. Do you trust the recommendations of the insurance committee, or do you question the recommendations because you want to vet everything here as they did? We certainly can do that. In the future, let's do that. For now, I think it's not a good idea because of a time crunch. We went early to get this done as soon as we can, to do a smooth transition, to do the workshops and then have a commissioners meeting to approve or not approve. Does take time. That's probably another 30 days. So my recommendation is take the insurance committee's recommendations for now. I think in the future, and nothing's forever, right? This is your plan. In December, you might say, I don't like Bill Rustenberg, get rid of him. Or I don't like Frontier, get rid of them too. You have that authority to do that because you are the insurance company. Does that make sense?
Absolute sense. Absolute sense.
The one thing that we can say having to do with, for instance, budgets, right, is that we have had the same, getting back to cost, right, is how much do we put aside?
Yes, per employee we pay $675.72 a month, which per employee, right? I can do the calculations annually, but per employee, that's how much we pay. And if you want a total number, I can give it to you. But that hasn't changed. It's actually had gone down from prior years. So changes have been done to make it better, where our cost is a good savings, but the benefit is what's rising, for the benefit of the whole county and employees. And so far we haven't gone up. We've actually gone down.
And I'd like to clarify what she said. She said we're paying $600 and something.
Yes.
You're really not. You're putting that money aside.
Yeah.
And you're not using the entire $600 and your net cost. Your net cost, and we track it every month. It's got to be the best in the marketplace because you have a 100% plan. You can go anywhere you want to. And your net cost is about $400 per employee per month. That's phenomenal. You look at Brownsville Schools, 8,000 employee lives with Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's well over 600. And it's deficit spending. They have to dip into their general funds every year. Look at Hidalgo County, look at their rates. So you've got very competitive rates, and you have a much better plan than either Hidalgo County, Starr County, or Cameron County. So you're right, you are paying $600 and something.
But
that's what's confusing. See, that's what we're learning. That's what's confusing. they're saying $675 a month,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But you're saying net cost is $400.
yes.
You see, that's what I'm learning. You know, that's why these questions are being asked.
Yes,
You know, because people ask us, our constituents ask us, what are you guys paying for? Say, well, $675. You know, but now
and that is what you're paying.
what we're putting aside.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what you have to set aside every year. So that way, if all the costs are depleted, then yes, that's what you would be paying. But that's what's set aside now. You do get more of a return. In other words, if, based on historical data that you haven't had to use all of it, it's around 400 and something. But we still have to budget the 675.
You have a good reserve
Yeah.
as a result of your prudent spending, right? And if you were to stop putting another dime into your program today, you could continue your program for another year at no cost. That's how much you have in reserve. Reserves are for a reason.
As a savings, as a reserve, right?
It's a savings. It's sitting there. You've got
Okay.
$1.3 million sitting aside.
Okay, my deal is that I want to make sure that our employees are getting the medications that they're needing. You know,
And the service.
I just want to make sure that's
I
my.
can assure you they're getting the medications they need. There's been, at times, there's some situations where they're not, but we're making arrangements to get that done. So that's the flexibility of it.
You know, as one for the insurance and how did I wind up on the insurance committee? Because
You had an issue.
I had an issue. Medicines weren't provided to us. You know, why are we having to be off the current medicines and be stuck with metformin? You know, we shouldn't be. So, over the years, things have changed drastically. They've improved. They've gotten better. And what better, yes, and I kind of had the same issues a few years ago, other than myself, right? But I said, well, what are we providing our employees? What benefit is it? And now we're to the point to where we're providing much better coverage. Is it the best? Is it the absolute astonishing? Absolutely not. But I don't think any insurance is going to be out there that much. But are we providing better coverage, better services? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Henry came to the committee out of concern, and all of you are welcome to do that. A year ago or so, here's my concerns, and the committee listened. And we solved those concerns, not for you personally, but for the entire.
I mean, and I think I've openly said I'm diabetic, and a lot of our employees are suffering from diabetes. And I said, so why are we not able to get the right medicines? How can we do it? How can we still save? I understand, hey, you know what? We're a small county, we're self-funded, but unfortunately, in the United States, these medicines cost a lot of money. And we found alternative measures to be able to take those medicines and be able to save money. And that was the bottom line. So
one of the resolutions here, if we get to it, we don't table it. One of the resolutions is improving Tina's ability to provide the prescription drugs on a more cost-effective basis through a national purchasing group, and get Ozempic and Mozero, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Martha, for $450, which would be a big savings, right?
From, what was it, 1,200, I think it was?
$1,200, yeah.
Well,
So
just to touch on what Commissioner Garcia, mentioned as far as, we don't see what the insurance committee, talks about. So what we look for when we do get our agendas, a couple of days before we actually arrive here, attachments. And so it would be nice, yes, and I would love to join the committee, actually, I do. I am a medical professional. But to touch base on what he's saying, we're blindsided. There's no summary, there's no pros and cons, and I know that takes place, I'm sure, and I hope, at the committee meetings that you all have.
Yes.
Because I, on this plan that we're on, was not able to have Paxlovid dispersed to me. I reached out and
we got it fixed, didn't we?
Not right away, but yes.
Yep.
But how many people have had COVID of our employees that were not able to, be able to have that prescription?
We don't know unless they tell us, right? And that's part of the education process.
I'd like to say something, because you did reach out, it's now fixed for any future one that has to have it. It's permanently fixed. So
This is Martha.
that's what you did. That's how you helped already, so there you go.
Yeah,
So you did the same thing Henry did.
Yeah.
Henry had an issue and we fixed it for everybody. You had an issue. I don't know. We didn't need to talk
And
about it in
that's-
public, but
That's the beauty of being flexible.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
and-
thanks to you, we fixed it. But
And
if you hadn't called, we would have never known. I'm sorry.
And ever since I've started here since January, right? I have heard employees come in, and then I see it's the same issue, and we work on it just to try to fix it and do better every time. It's not perfect, but we're working on it, and we're really trying to get everyone on track. That's all we can do, really.
So that was what I was referring to, like having some kind of summary, some kind of a attachment where we see that,
Cost and.
the pros and cons and be made aware of what was discussed and, so that we are informed.
Mhm.
And, I don't know how many meetings that you attended and how they go and how long they last and whatnot.
Yeah, so
Sometimes
we don't know.
they can last longer than commissioner's court.
Yeah.
And sometimes they
Because
may not last very
because we
long.
can't
3 or
even
4 hour meetings. Yeah.
Yeah, and we go in with an intention to make a decision, and it's like, no, well, there's too many questions, and there's too many different
And
opinions,
then
and
you could also attend by Zoom.
yeah.
So wherever you're at, you could also do that. So the meetings have been very flexible and they, sometimes we have to cancel meetings,
Yes.
but it's just like any committee group, and I say that I'll take a step further. I think you mentioned about committees. We have a scoring committee that comes and scores our projects. And then we come in and we take the recommendation. This is the same thing. They got an insurance committee. The judge, you're gonna need something else, you put a committee together based on the recommendations of the committee. They come in here and say, this is what we're gonna do. But if that's not the process anymore, that says, then we're gonna put it all together. I agree 100%. Hey, let's put the numbers right here, put that to the agenda, make people review it, and we'll move forward. Right? But that's what committees do. That's what it's for.
They review the proposal, the RFP and stuff like that. I would like to have seen a little bit of that too. Who was there?
Just
that's how we do it.
informed,
And mindful of your time, which you told us is very precious. That is my job, is to review these items because it affects the whole county and it affects our balances, our budgets. And like y'all said, some of these times these meetings go 3 or 4 hours. How are we expected to digest all that in a few minutes? We've already spent 30 or 40 minutes on this, on one of these items. So yes, if we're gonna continue, then we need to put the time and effort to inform us somehow ahead of time, so I can make an informed decision, for my employees.
and
the
and
other
our
employees.
county employees as well, for all of us.
All
Can I say something?
Sure.
There's no medical information discussed at all at the committee level because of HIPAA. We don't divulge any medical information. I just wanted everybody to know that when you talked about being a medical professional, which is important. But just wanted you to know that. We don't do that. We don't go there. That's a big no-no.
Well, I would urge you not to table any of these items. I would urge you to make a decision.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a right decision. I think your committee is smart. They spent hours on it. I think you should trust their recommendation. I think going forward, we should take your suggestions and have more involvement with Commissioners Court in workshops. That's a great idea. In the alternative to that, you need to be on the committee, and you need to be on the committee.
like I tell you, we can't be all there together.
You can if you have a workshop.
We have a workshop. That's why I
There
said
you
it's
go.
got to be
Yeah.
a workshop.
But be prepared for long, day-long workshops, because insurance is not simple. When we got all these proposals, I got to point to Martha. She did 99% of the work going through them, and it's a job. Okay, it's a job and it's going back and forth with the carriers or the insurance vendors to determine and verify what they're actually saying. So it's time consuming.
I can see how it can be.
Yeah. And if you want to
It's all
be part of that
confidential.
process,
We can't release anything.
come on in.
Yeah, we can't divulge any of the numbers publicly before y'all vote on it, because it's an RFP.
Well, it's up to you guys. I mean, that's basically, my thing is we're not setting aside any more and any less. How long have we been doing that? For that amount?
It's been, a couple of years that we've been in that.
Right. And so what I make sure of is first that we can afford it and that the other entities can afford it as well, right? And two is that we looking at it from both sides, is that we're setting aside enough, right? And two, that what we are setting aside is healthy, which has been, right? And then obviously the committee looks into what better benefits can we have, right? And in all honesty, we've gone out of the box. I don't think there's any, and you probably know more than I, local government entities that have the ability to go to the 2 gymnasiums that are here in Willacy County, right? At free of charge to the employee, right? And then do we need to do that? No, we don't. But that's on the preventive side, right? And then we have a program here that is here further down, specific for diabetes or diabetics. I can almost assure you that no other local government has
Nobody's
this
doing that.
available to their employees. And I've said this before, is that, and I know I'm gonna jump here from one to another, but is that we don't promote enough our benefits, including health benefits. Right?
And that's one thing
And so
that,
this I think of as we are coming up with different ways of how to improve employee health benefits, which is not something that's easy to put together, right? As being self-insured. Now, having said that, in 2008, we decided to go self-insured because we were basically forced to do so. And that is that premiums went up so high going out for bids, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and other health insurance companies, that we decided to try and go self-insured, right? It takes an effort, what I've learned, right? It takes an effort to be able to sustain being self-insured in itself. And I think that if we can change the way as to how decisions are being made, right? We can have commissioners court be the insurance committee if that's what is being recommended. Or we can flat out say, you know what, let's not be self-insured. Let's go out for bids and go in the same way that we were prior and do what, and I was gonna say what everybody else is doing, but it seems that what we did back then, everybody else is doing now, including schools, including counties, right? So apparently it was the right decision back then, right? So my thing is to protect and improve what we have going. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge because of the type of program that employee health insurance is in itself. It's a lot of different components to be able to keep self-insured. Stop loss being one big factor that we learned early on. That plays a big role in being self-insured. But needless to say, I don't in any way disagree with the commissioners because it is a lot, right? But their responsibilities, our responsibilities are exactly what you guys are alluding to. I don't have no dispute on that. The only concern right here is you mentioned the timeline, right? Where would that put us? And I know and I don't blame you because I know I've witnessed the time that we put into it, but where would that put us as far as timeline?
If you wait to make a decision down the road, we'll make it work. But it may not be smooth. And when it goes smooth, you have things fall through the cracks. The employees are going to have to be educated. That's very, very important. Linda's prepared to do that. She's already planned how to do that. That's key. You've got to have buy-in from the employees and the planning members. If you make your decisions today, which I hope you do, I hope you approve these resolutions. We have time to do it properly. We have time to put everything in place and have our open meetings. It's an October 1 effective date. You may be thinking, well, that's a long ways off. It is really not a long ways off. So, but if you wait and you make a decision September 30th, I quit.
Yeah, no, and it does affect also our stop loss, so we need to have all of this approved before we can even go out for bids for stop loss,
Right.
and then that needs to get approved, and we need all that before budget. Budget's also gonna come up, and that's gonna take time, as well. So I am prepared, like Bill said. I mean, like I said, this position's new, right, for this fiscal year, but I have recommended to the committee and told them, hey, like, maybe doing more one-on-one, with the employees to make sure they are educated. Hey, these are all your benefits. Like, one of the common questions I get is, hey, is this covered? Hey, can I go to this place? And sometimes they don't know. They don't know we have virtual care or any of that. And Frontier, that's one thing that I liked about it is that it is virtual. It's also in person. The employee has the option. So for those that are still hesitant on changing, but the availability is 24/7, and that's what employees need to know. Like, hey, your doctor can't see you for 3 weeks, but Frontier can take you tomorrow at latest, And that would help reduce the hospital visits that we have a really high number in. So we have 98 in 1 year out of.
The last 12 months, you had 98 ER admissions.
And we only have 150 employees. So that's really high.
You can cut that even in half. That is a tremendous savings.
Mm-hmm.
So all these would take effect next fiscal year, October 1.
October
Yes.
1.
When is open enrollment?
So open enrollment is usually around August, September. So, well, we can start in August, I want to say. Just because I do want to reach out to more employees, like more on a one-to-one basis. Give me your questions and let me help you, fix that, answer all those questions and get you on the right path. So I'm aiming for August, early August, September.
Looking at all, not to get ahead of the agenda here, there is a lot of resolutions that we have to try to approve today.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like their effective dates are October 1. Personally, I mean, I can go either way with listening to what the judge says has gotten better. I know very little about it. I don't actually participate in it because I'm a retired state employee. But all of my 6 employees, 4 because 2 are part-time, do participate, and I want to make sure that they're informed. And as the other road and bridge employees, which ours are at a very a higher risk because we're outside in the elements of operating equipment. I want to make sure that we have this done in place properly at the right time. But I don't see why we couldn't, wait until next week to have some kind of a workshop meeting to kind of ask these questions we can ask about these. And I don't want to say the whole committee, but at least a handful. Maybe Mr. Rustenberg, leading and some others that want to present to us. We don't have that many, that many opinions, so to speak, because you already have a a recommendation from your committee. So then it would just be a quick presentation, limited to an hour, and go forward. Because that's what we're doing here. We were limited to we've already been at it an hour, maybe 45 minutes. So
We're not
But then again, I'm just one person, and I didn't make a motion to the table. I'm just saying, that's what I would like to see, and go at it next week or the next week.
Yeah, well, and my stand on that is that if, and I've always said this, not only in this particular agenda line item, but in every, is that if you don't feel comfortable that there's enough information to be able to make a decision, I'm always flexible to try and achieve that. For any commissioner, for any commissioner that sits here, which is a lot of times that we make decisions where maybe one or two of us are absent, you know. And I know we can do business and continue on. That's the reason to having a quorum. But sometimes it doesn't make too much sense to not have a full commissioner's court to do so. This would be one of them. You know, this is a big, you know, part of our budget. It's a big part of our budget.
I do need to mention, Martha reminded me, we're on vacation next week, so that's out for us. Following week, we have another county that we're doing the same thing we're doing here. We've already filled in those time slots, minimum 2 weeks before we can get back here.
Well, that's on y'all.
Yep.
So, you know, if we feel comfortable with our committee member, and if you have a chair,
Very comfortable with it. They can handle
they
it.
can present to us. I don't have a problem with that.
Not a problem.
So, you know, we can formulate that. I haven't had a committee member come up to me yet. I talked to one of them this morning. Say, hey, you know, this is all good. I mean, normally that's kind of how things are done.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anything about it till we saw it on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be done too. So, yeah, I would say that we try to schedule it for next week. If y'all on vacation, we're on vacation. But we're not going to wait, you know, for that. If you got business with another county, that's fine too.
Well, we have, since, you know, if that's,
And is this meeting that you're requesting is just go over benefits or go over
We're going to
financials?
go over every one of
everything?
these that are on the
Perfect.
agenda items.
Oh.
That are action items.
is, let's see. 11 through 17?
17.
Yes, sir.
So I think if that's the, I think that motion, I know Ms. Hinojosa is talking, but you can do a motion that would include, since it's all pertaining to the insurance committee recommendations, that you can include, you know, 11 through 17.
Yeah, I would make a motion to table 11 through 17, which are the insurance committee items that were recommendations from them, to be held next week or as soon as we can possibly schedule a workshop over those items. And I'll make myself available for that. That's, I think,
It's in form of a motion.
that's my motion.
Yeah, that is. Okay, so I have a motion by Commissioner Garcia, and I entertain a second by Commissioner Alanis Morano. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign.
Aye.
All right, I have a nay.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Nate,
One nay.
De La Paz.
All right.
Can we go back to number 10 real quick?
Yes, what about?
On the agenda item, it has for years 2025 through 2025.
Yeah,
But on her recommendation, it had 2025 through 2026.
yes, and I addressed that, and it was a typo. It's 2025, 2026. It's a typo on the agenda.
The upcoming FY fiscal year.
That was it.
Let's see, so we're on line item number 18, discussion act to approve construction contract change order for the total amount of $22,500 for CFC 21-20274. Ms. Paulina, welcome.
Judge, good morning, Commissioners. Paulina Vega from Hansen Professional Services. This change order is for the sewer part of the project in La Sara. And the $22,500 was for exploratory items that needed to be done in order to install that sewer line. There was a conflict with the fiber line and a couple of other utilities right there on the corner of FM 1015 and 9th Street. So the contractor is asking for compensation for those items. Now, this amount had already been taken into consideration with the remaining grant funds. So the total grant remaining funds were $368,712. And then we deducted this change order that we already knew was coming. And after bidding the project out for the street and the engineering amendments, we are still under, and taking into account the street lights budget of $18,000 more or less, we are still we're under the budget, the grant budget by $4,341.15, even if you approve this.
Yeah, this change order had already been, the numbers had already been included on what we went out and approved the contractor, right?
Correct.
And so the figures didn't change. The only thing is that we're officially accepting the change order that was basically.
Correct. And usually the change orders have to go through the funding agency so that they can approve it. So that's why it's a little bit delayed, but we finally got that in order, and now we're recommending approval.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Tejeda. Any more discussion?
Oh, quick question. Those street lighting, keep that somewhere where I can call you about it.
Okay.
The design. Okay.
Sure.
How many is it?
For street lights, I think right now we are taking a look at more or less how many can be placed there.
Oh, okay.
But budget allows pretty much for you to.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not gonna have that kind of budget, but I mean, maybe 5 to 10 or.
I think
For the
you could
first round?
probably put a little bit more than that. So.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
I had a motion. And a second.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You didn't need a vote.
Okay, so any more comments or questions, discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign, motion carries. Line item number 19, discussion action to approve. Is it cheap? Consulting LLC engineer / architect surveyor contract for the Firestone Park improvement contract GLO number 24-099010 and E546 action required.
Is it
Cheap.
Is that, Ms. Rodriguez's?
Yes, it is.
She was here. I guess she stepped out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go a little long. And then we need a recommended motion.
And all the other ones follow.
Right, same one?
Yeah, this is having to do, commissioners, with the next phase of the Firestone and
Phase 3, right?
yeah.
We're on number 19.
How do you pronounce that?
Morning.
Shield?
Shibi.
Chibi. I thought I heard it. Chibi.
It's Shibi, Judge.
All right, I already read out the line item,
Yes, sir.
19.
There any questions?
Yes, sir. Are there any questions, or would you like for me to give more information?
Please provide more information.
More information? Sure. This is, I know that for the Fredstone Park Phase 2, it's been a long time coming as far as where we're at. We started with Cycle 26. Now, just recently, we got awarded funding, and it's now a project of special merits. So this is the second phase of the Fredstone Park project for the upgrade, and this will be the construction. However, please keep in mind that we did hire an engineer, or the court did approve to hire an engineer earlier, which was phase. Well, you have the pier that was paid 100% from Willacy County under GOMISA funding. Then you have phase 1 that was only for the design, And so for the design, we had one engineer, and then we moved on to another engineer, and that engineer was Mott McDonald. Mott McDonald completed the design, 100% approved by the GLO. So we completed that phase. Now we're in phase 2, which is the construction. But the GLO does require that we hire another engineer, right, for the construction phase. And so I do have that information for you, Commissioner. I do know that our legal counsel is not here with us today, and she had emailed me a question as well that was clarified. So the advertisement for the request for qualifications for an engineer was, the dates that I have is February 26, 2025, where we follow a policy and procedure of the state, right? Because we work with 3 policies. We work with local, we work with state, and we work with federal. But this is funded by the Texas General Land Office, the GLO. So we follow the state policy. And so we did follow those policies, and the requirements for engineers, they were procured only once. It was only 1 week. It didn't run twice. Sometimes we run it twice. And so the court did approve the selection of Shibi. Another special note, Judge, is that we only had 1 application, which was Shibi. And the court, I have it right here, for y'all approved on April 10th, 2025. So we had a sole applicant, and Shibi was approved by Willacy County. At the time, though, the contract that you have before you right now was not readily available. Why? Because the GLO likes to verify, make sure that the language is in compliance, because we are also matching with GOMISA funds, but the state is also funding GOMISA funds. So that's where we've arrived here today. And it has gone before Mrs. Vinosa for legal review. And
everything's up to date.
Everything's up to date.
Okay, so
She did have a question regarding the local Texas government code. She is our legal counsel, so it's totally legitimate. And I did follow up with GrantWorks, which is our administrator and our manager. And it's just a kind reminder, like you mentioned, Judge, that since the court had approved the resolution to hire, Mrs. Hinojosa, I did not include that with the legal review. But I am happy to inform you that we have procured with integrity, and we did follow the policies and the requirements from the Texas General Land Office.
Okay. Move to approve,
I have a motion by Commissioner Tijerina to approve.
Okay, thank you.
And second by Commissioner Alanis Zambrano. Any more discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Line number 20, discuss, consider, and select Office Nation, Inc. to complete project implementation for the American Rescue Plan Act projects, funding administered by the U.S. Department of Treasury, other federal and state agencies.
So yes, sir. I'm happy to announce that this is the last project that Willacy County Commissioners Court obligated from the American Rescue Plan Act. And the committee made the recommendation and the court approved for technology equipment for other departments. And so we did have the committee score, and we had Mr. Lucio Esparza, and we had Commissioner Alanis, who joined us on the phone, And then we also included Mr. Ruben Cavazos and Mr. Jesus Reyes for the IT to make sure that the specs, we did receive 2 bids, and the committee scored and is recommending, made that recommendation.
Just to go ahead, there's a small error there. It's a PC Nation.
Okay.
It's known as Office Nation.
Well, on the Office
Oh,
Nation,
on the actual,
under SAM.gov, it's Office Nation,
Oh, is it?
but then their logo is PC Nation.
Okay.
It's one and the same, but maybe,
yes,
Maybe
because
then
you did
do that.
refer, right, we emailed the packets to you.
Yeah.
But,
So, when we make the motion, how do we?
I have those here, I
Office
apologize.
Nation known as PC Nation.
There you go.
May I approach the Commissioner Garcia? And please pass.
Sure.
I noticed that too, and I went back and I looked
Yeah.
to verify and they're the same.
I'm not sure if, I know Mrs. Simons is not here, but if continue to, we can verify.
Well, I think, I think.
Yeah, but I looked at that, when I received the email with the SAM.gov paperwork, it's under Office, Nation, but
Right,
they go as PC Nation. That's their business name.
I think if we allude to both.
Yes.
On the,
okay.
on the motion,
If,
which should be good.
Judge, I apologize, but I just received a text message regarding this item. Okay, how do I manage this? It's a new change for this item.
We'll table,
Yes,
if it's gonna affect
yes, sir.
the decision.
That
absolutely.
message just came in right now.
Table.
From?
We'll
For
table.
line item number 20?
Yes,
Okay.
unless I have the opportunity to go to the office after.
Table it,
my presentation.
Table it to the end.
Okay, yeah, we can
I
keep going and
apologize.
come back to it.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
what you're
Make a
saying?
motion
Yes,
to
sir.
table number 20 for now.
Second.
All right. Meaning to come back to it right now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
come back.
So I have a motion in a second. So we're gonna continue and then come back to it. Lizzie. Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Okay, let's see, line item 21.
This
You
is,
wanna?
Yes, sir.
Take care of this and come back?
yes, sir, because
Okay, so
they're
this-
both in reference to
Okay.
the same one.
So commissioners, with your permission, I'm gonna jump to,
So we're gonna table 21 also, is that included?
yeah,
I appreciate that,
we're-
Your Honor.
22.
Yeah, 21 and 22, we'll come back to
I
it.
appreciate that.
So 3 of those. Okay, so we go to line item number 23. Discussion and approval of purchase of equipment, pump kit, and 8.5 feet road room.
No, just
What?
22. Ambulance.
Oh, 22. Oh, I was skipping Frank. Okay, so, well, maybe you want us to jump that one too, Jessica, so you can go take care of whatever and then we'll.
Yes, sir.
22?
Yeah,
It's,
this has to do with,
we can do Mr. this.
okay,
one.
well, we'll do that one then. All right.
Yes, sir.
Number 22, discussion act to approve paying the remaining balance of invoice, PF 237451 for the total amount of $97,721.06 for ARPA project number 2264 ambulance purchase upon receipt of invoice from Fund 114 American Rescue Plan Act, interest accrued to date, action required. Commissioners, basically, what this is in a nutshell is that we had, this is having to do with how we're gonna pay for it, right? It's already been approved, as a matter of fact, I think, Frank, you already have it in your possession. Is that we're paying part of it with remaining ARPA funding and then the rest of it from the interest that got accumulated
Yes.
from those fundings.
Yes.
So that's basically what we're approving here.
Yes, and it actually came under budget. You know, so we actually had a cost savings in the end. And yes, Mr. Torres, he's here with us today, and they did go pick up that ambulance on the 16th of June.
Mr. Frank, you checked it out?
Yes, so we went up and did our inspection and accepted it and drove it back that day. The ambulance is in service. We were able to get it licensed last week. In fact, it made its first call at about 12:30 this morning. It made its second call at 6:45 this morning. So we've already transported 2 patients in that ambulance.
Came in ready to go, huh?
It's ready. We were desperately waiting for it. We had a unit that actually is, we parked the day before, right, that we went to pick it up. We had to park it just because it's done. 300 and some odd thousand miles, and it just wasn't worth fixing anymore. And so we expedited we worked with the state health department and expedited the certification of the ambulance. It's licensed, it's running. It's in service as we speak. Thank you. So thank you all very much for your support and assistance in securing the ambulance. We'll be working in the future with some other funding that's come up from the state that the county is eligible for, and we'll be working with you to help hopefully secure some of that funding. So thank you again.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
And we have it with us. If y'all have time to go look at it when we're done.
If there's no comments or questions, can I entertain a motion to approve?
So move to approve.
The motion by Commissioner Alaniza Navarro.
Does it have to be read? Certainly.
Read it out.
Oh, is that? Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
No, I don't think it
there's
is.
no,
There's no
there's no
recommendation on that one?
Oh, there's a typo. They have the 21, it should be 22, right?
Yeah. So what
The
about
last
them?
one? That's the last
Oh, okay, I see it.
okay, the bottom. Oh,
The very
I
bottom.
see it, okay. So I amend my motion
There
and
we go.
I motion to approve paying the remaining balance of invoice PF 237451 for the total amount of $97,721.06 for ARPA project 2264 ambulance purchase upon receipt of invoice from Fund 114 American Rescue Plan Act, interest accrued to date.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, so we'll come back to it.
We're actually good. Would you like me? We're actually good. I already verified.
Oh, you already fixed it?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll go back to
Thank you, Francis.
line item number 19, discussion item to approve Chibi Consulting LLC Engineering / Architect Surveyor Contract for the Fredstone Park Improvement Contract. I am sorry, we did that one already. We go to 20. Discuss, consider, and select Office Nation Inc. to complete project implementation for the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA projects, funding administered by the U.S. Department of Treasury, other federal and state agency action required.
Yes. So I have verified, and so it has PC Nation, but just like Commissioner Alaniz mentioned, that is the official name on the W-9 and on the SAMSTOT bill.
PC Nation?
It's as what is listed there on the
Office
agenda item.
Nation.
Yes.
So
And I
make
have also provided the recommended motion for that.
motion to approve Office Nation Inc. as selected vendor to complete project implementation for the local assistance and tribal constituency fund, LATCF, for ARPA project number 2409-8.
Second. I have a motion by Commissioner Tejeda, a second by Commissioner Garcia. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Alright, we go to line item 21, discussion action to improve the purchase technology / equipment for Willacy County Department's project 2409A for the total amount not to exceed $66,672.66 to be paid from the local Assistance and Tribal Consistency Fund, LATCF, action required. This also has to do with
Yes, sir.
purchasing of
Yes, sir.
technology.
This project was forwarded on June 18th, 2025.
Motion to approve purchase of the ARPA project number 2409-8, technology and equipment for Willacy County departments for the total amount not to exceed $66,672.66 to be paid from the Local Assistance and Tribal Consistency Fund, LATCF.
Motion by Commissioner Tijerina, second by Commissioner Zamorano. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And I think that takes care of that. So we go to 23.
The good stuff.
Oh, the good stuff. Okay, discussion and approval of purchase of equipment, pump kit, and 8.5 feet road room for precinct 1 in the amount of $37,753 to be financed and paid from precinct 1 road and bridge funds with final amount to include financing cost. Action required.
So yes, there was a piece of equipment left out from that, which was the culvert cleaner. But it can be made or included in the motion.
On for that price.
For 23, yeah,
Okay.
for that total price. Yeah, all of the equipment is on the invoice that's attached.
Need a motion?
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a motion, Judge,
Consider.
move to purchase, I move to purchase, equipment for pump kit, 8.5 road groomer, a culvert cleaner for precinct 1 to be paid from precinct 1 road and bridge fund in the amount of $37,753 to include financing costs, if any.
I have a motion by Commissioner Tijerina. Can I entertain a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Line item number 24, discussion approval for Willacy County to submit application for financing with American National Bank and leasing of Wichita Falls, Texas for purchase of pump kit and 8.5 feet road room for precinct 1 in the amount of $37,753. Action required.
I move to authorize Willacy County to submit an application for funding of precinct 1 equipment approved for purchase and agenda item 23 through the American National Bank and leasing of Wichita Falls, Texas, and to pay financing costs from precinct 1 budget.
I have a motion by Commissioner Tijerina. Can I entertain a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. Is this the same that precinct 2 used? Okay.
Yes. The road group, same thing.
Financing,
Well, it's really good.
as far as the financing?
No, I paid
I paid
for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I paid.
All right. Is there interest involved here?
No, the only financing cost, let me get to it. They give a 3-year, 4-year, or 5-year payment plan, and I'm gonna choose the 3-year, and it's and the first payment is due in 1 year.
And there's interest involved?
Yes.
I'm just curious. Curious.
It's not much.
So I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Line item number 25. Discuss and approve a purchase of equipment, 8.5 feet road room for precinct 4 in the amount of $28,559 to be financed and paid for precinct 1 road and bridge funds. The financial amounts to include financing costs. Okay, well, let's answer it.
So, you want to discuss before, yes, that's the same road groomer, we were at the same conference, it's the same one that Commissioner Tijerina has.
Mm-hmm.
He can attest that it works well, so we did a 2-for-1, other than, I didn't get the pump, I just got the groomer itself. And, I don't know if we want to leave it the same as it was, written to be paid by precinct 1, I mean, I'm good with that.
I was gonna interject on
You have
that.
a correction, you have a correction.
I thought you was buying 2.
No.
So this is a pretty unique item. I didn't get the culvert cleaner, but that's interesting. Maybe I'll look at that a little later on. But if you're entertaining motions, unless you want, and there is a little interest involved, Judge, you scroll down, it tells you, I think it's $1,600 of interest over the 3 years. I'm doing the same thing. We're doing the exact same thing. And the payment's not due till next year, so it doesn't put any heavy financial constraint, and it avoids us from having to buy another maintainer.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I saw it working with the demonstration.
Right.
Yeah,
If,
and the purpose for my pump kit is that way, I only have 3 county workers, so to be able to be more efficient, I can have 1 county worker on the maintainer, and then I can, with that pump kit, it's able to be attached to a truck. So I can have another county worker working on another road.
I have another utility tractor, so it kind of works the same way.
Yeah.
Unless I need a pump later, I'll look at it. But, so the first thing I want to do is to correct the agenda item that says, the statement will be, I move to amend the agenda item to reflect the purchase of the equipment to be paid from precinct 4, Road and Bridge. It said,
Not precinct.
not precinct. I move to purchase the equipment, an 8-foot, it doesn't say it there, 8-foot road groomer. Wait a minute. Yeah.
8.5.
8.5, my bad. And no COVID cleaner. To be, for precinct 4 to be paid for from precinct 4 Road and Bridge Fund in the amount of $28,559 to include the financing cost in any, and there is. But yeah, that's the total amount.
All right.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Tejeda. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Line item 26, discussion approval of Willacy County submit application of financing with American National Bank and leasing of Wichita Falls, Texas, with purchase of 8.5 feet road room for precinct 4 in the amount of $28,559. Action required.
Judge, I move to authorize Willacy County to submit an application for funding of precinct 4, full precinct 4 equipment approved for the purchase in the agenda item 25 to the American National Bank and leasing in Wichita Falls, Texas, and to pay financing costs from precinct 4 budget.
I second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Zamorano. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Line number 27, approval of travel request. Have you seen that? Travel request. We're gonna do it this morning after.
Just department funding. Travel request for county executive agent Regina Macias to attend the 2025 PCAA State Conference on July 18th to the 23rd, 2025 in Butler, Texas. That's it.
So, everything's in order, they submitted on paperwork?
So move to approve the travel request.
Second?
Second. Okay.
Judge Botin, right here?
This come.
Sorry, Commissioners, I didn't want to. Yeah,
To kind of, but I wasn't able to put it up, as to how we're doing with that particular line item. Because obviously I want to inform you if and when we were to be over budget in that particular line item, I'm unable to tell you. I want to say, just shooting off my head, but we're probably still on the black on that one.
Let me see if
So-
I can access Judge real quick. I'm trying to.
Okay, you're able to pull it up?
Hold on.
Great.
See if this thing's working.
I just want to we can do budget amendments, but I just
Right.
want to
Make sure.
us to be aware when we reach that threshold.
Yeah, I can. Let me see.
That's your motion.
We have a motion to.
Oh, we have a motion, okay.
De La Paz and Tijerina.
Motion by Commissioner La Paz, second by Commissioner Tijerina. And we're in the discussion part. And no, yes.
There's very few money left over, but I think it's because there's a lot of encumbrances still. Do you wanna know the balance with the encumbrances, or just okay that there's money to cover this one? It's
That's-
about 3,000, it says, left over. But I think there's like 10,000 that's in encumbrance, and I'm not sure. I would need to see what hasn't, been finalized and what's still outstanding. Cause that's
Okay.
stuff that's out there, but it hasn't been,
Processed or
processed
whatever.
yet.
Okay, so show 3,000 on the positive. However, there's a possibility of having in the area of 10,000 out there.
Yeah.
So we're basically there.
That second travel request already, it already occurred.
Hold on.
And we paid from Fund 56.
What?
Or am I looking at it wrong?
Yeah, the first one is by, Mr. Garza. He has his own funding. I don't know if you were looking at that one, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm looking at the wrong one. It's just set in front of me.
It's just two of them.
Yes, that number one is taken care of with the grant. And number two is the one that would need to get approved through. 401.
Does it say how much the second one is?
What's on
The
the
second one shows,
I think it was already on the desk.
yes.
From last time?
Yeah, I wasn't
I
here.
don't know. And I don't have one, but the other thing, Commissioners, I want to tell you is that on my hours, having to do on the judicial side, the probate, the organization pays for travel. So what I do is, if I do take the county vehicle, I have Cassie submit for reimbursement back to the county. So hopefully some of that is gonna be reimbursed if that's part of what's in the pipeline. Just to let you all know.
So the first one's taken care of. How much is the second one?
The second one, it shows $1,032.55, and that includes meals, lodging, and a registration fee of $300.
I think.
1,000 in total? 1,000.
What,
Oh,
is it something
no.
that's out of the ordinary or what?
No, the first one is taken care of. The second one, just wanted to know how much it was.
Okay.
Is it 10,000 or 11,000?
That's what he was asking, I'm
Okay,
sorry, I
okay.
was answering him.
So were we good with that?
Yeah, we would
Okay.
be good
All right,
with
yeah, I think we'll be all right approving this, and then, again, Commissioner, we can do a budget amendment, but I just wanted to get a feel. The other thing is that here shortly, and maybe even as soon as next week, we need to go into budget workshops, and look at, where we're at, for future. I don't think I can go into too much of the numbers that I've crunched so far, right? But needless to say, we'll address that. So do I have any motions on this? Yes, a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 28, executive session, and Commissioners, as you know, Ms. Hinojosa is not here with us. And so I recommend that we table line item 28 and 29.
So,
I have a motion by Commissioner Garcia.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tijerina. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Alanis Tijerina, Alanis Morano, second by Commissioner Tijerina. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioners.